Do you know what a Nutty Buddy is? Well, if you listen to our interview on today's show, you're going to find out. It's awesome. But we're going to talk about the March Madness coming to an end, the Masters, and shenanigans in Major League Baseball in the All-Star Game. This is the We Don't Know Sports podcast. Stay tuned. Welcome back once again to the We Don't Know Sports podcast. This is Chad the Mark with
Mr. Brown
and
Canadian Biggie.
And Biggie, man, you missed our interview that's going to be on the show coming up, but you got a little North Dakota connection there.
I got to say, he quickly became one of my most favorite people.
I mean, you talked to him after the interview, and you took the phone from Mr. Brown there, essentially, just because you guys were, opining about things of North Dakota nature, I guess. Is that fair to say?
Riding bareback across the prairie.
I don't know if that's code for something else, but we're going to ignore that. But we had former big leaguer Mark Littell join us, and honestly, we had to cut the interview short because we could have talked all night.
Yeah, he's literally the most interesting man in the world.
That's not part of the show, but when you talk to him afterwards, like he did a Dos Equis commercial.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. So we're going to have him on the show again sometime down the road for sure. But there's a reason why this podcast is rated explicit on iTunes, and you're going to find out if you listen to the interview. It's not for kids, but you know what? If you got a sense of humor and you just enjoy good sports talk, it's one of the better interviews we've done. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
All right. So, guys, if you like the show, if you found us somewhere out in the interwebs, make sure you subscribe, listen to it. And if you don't like the show, just move on. Don't say anything bad, but make sure you check us out on social media. We got the Facebook firing up again, and we're on all platforms. And you can get this podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, whatever platform is available. But that being said, we got sports to talk about. We just got a few things because the interview's long and it's good. So we're going to save a lot of that for later. But let's just start off. We come back from last week. We had the Final Four wrapped up. And the Baylor Bears are your national champion. The Baylor Bears, who were almost a program left for dead not too long ago, where players are killing each other and all kinds of nonsense. And now they got a title.
You want to talk about like return from the depths and what you've done with the program? You had one player kill another one, and wasn't it the coach covered it up?
Yes,
to try to protect the program to make
bad?
the
like this. Art Briles got nothing on the basketball program from was that 15 or 20 years ago?
Yeah, it was early 2003, 2004, somewhere in there.
I mean, just madness. And part of me as a Mountaineer fan, I'm upset because I'm like, if Baylor can win it, why can't we? You kind of feel that way.
Well, Baylor Gonzaga, who played them the best all year long out of anybody in the country.
West Virginia, who lost in the second round to Syracuse. But this is not a West Virginia show, so we're going to move on from that pain point.
Personally, I'm fine with Baylor winning.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Baylor had some dogs. Like, I was sitting down here with Mr. Brown watching the game first half, and what Baylor was on every loose ball, and you could see it in their eyes.
I'm not upset they won. No, I'm just saying I'm jealous.
Gonzaga never had a lead.
That's
like there was no lead change.
Wire to wire.
10 minutes in, they're up 12-14, and Mr. Brown's like, dude, it's over. There's no way. These Baylor boys just won it.
So
Big 12 conference versus what? The WAC? Is that right?
The Western Athletic Conference, I
okay.
believe. Yeah. Or
West Coast Conference.
West Coast. WCC.
Yep.
That's it.
You can tell the competition.
Yeah, it's a little different.
But Baylor will play anybody anywhere. They played really well
They're a good
out
team.
of conference before the season
deserve
started.
To be there.
Although they lost a couple games to COVID. Weren't they supposed to play Baylor before?
Early, after West Virginia played them back in December, they were supposed to play. And, we got our wish finally. It just happened to be in April, essentially. So the one thing I want to jump back to real quick, though, because the championship game was garbage. But did you watch the UCLA Gonzaga game?
Yes.
Wow, that was a long pause.
Well, because I kind of fell asleep for part of it because it came on later and I'm old. I'll say this. The most forgotten shot in the history of basketball is going to be Jalen Suggs' game winner in overtime.
It's going to. But,
saluting the cutout. Hold on, before you go, I've heard a ton of, and he's looking at the cutouts and he's yelling to them. There is no way that shot's in my top 10 all time for college basketball because if he misses, it goes to another overtime. It's not on par with. They're trying to put it up there with Lakener's shot. No,
but it's up there. I'm sorry. I know the stakes aren't the same, and I'm telling you why it's up there. First of all,
You put it in the top 5, top 10?
top 3.
Top 3.
That might be the greatest college basketball game I've seen, and I mean it's up there with the Duke Kentucky from the 90s. And here's the thing:
revisionist history. What have you done for
I'm
me
not
lately?
old. I didn't fall asleep like you did, you lazy ass. I watched the whole game. And you talk about how the championship game was wire to wire Baylor. This game never had more than a 6-point lead in it. And if you go look at the score chart where it shows you how big the margin is, it's just like roads crossing constantly. It was amazing. If you go watch the highlights, every time you look, it's like 23-21. It's 35-34. 43-41. Like, it never got out of hand either way. And I felt so bad for UCLA because they were the first 4 in. Now they're in the Final Four. And they gave Baylor their best shot. And I'm convinced because of that game, Baylor had nothing left. Not Baylor. Gonzaga had nothing left for Baylor.
What you're saying is Baylor would have smacked UCLA just like they did Gonzaga.
I'm telling you that UCLA beat Gonzaga. It just happened a couple days later.
When I watched that game, granted I fell asleep, then I rewatched some of it at 3 a.m. What it reminded me of is that Kentucky team of a couple years ago, undefeated all the way to the Final Four, and they ran into a buzzsaw in Wisconsin who was up on them from the start of the game, and it's like the national championship game with Gonzaga. They're down. We haven't lost. What's going on here? UCLA played like they had nothing to lose, and Gonzaga played like they actually felt like they had the pressure on them.
And they did, and it showed. And some people were saying it's a choke job. Some people aren't. I'm not saying it's a choke job. I'm just saying you played a team that could match you inside, and Baylor, to beat Baylor, you can't let them make shots.
Dude, here's the thing about that Baylor, that title game. Who had 2 fouls in like the first 4 minutes? Suggs.
Suggs did that, yeah.
He spent most of the first half on the bench. Baylor's probably got the best backcourt in the nation. You can't have him on the bench.
It's argued. They shoot the 3 at a better clip than anybody too. You know, so I mean they were just outmatched. It was a woodshed.
I will say this: does it not make it that much more impressive? 1976 Indiana Hoosiers. Bobby
Is
Knight.
it ever going to happen?
You know, we've had it happen twice in the last, 5-6 years. Kentucky went to the Final Four undefeated with what Cal does with all those NBA players. This year with the Gonzaga and the COVID season, and they're scoring 90 a game. Nobody can do it.
It's like when we had Bob Picozzi on the other day or a couple weeks ago. I feel like it just feels like the other day, right? Bob Picozzi said that when you watch the men's tournament, like the conference tournaments, all that stuff don't even matter anymore. There's no gap between these teams. Everybody's got a stud. Everybody's got a star. And their floor players, their low players are about the same on all these teams now. It's just some have a little bit better elite players. So what's happening is you've seen that window closed. And because of that, I don't think you're ever going to see that undefeated run because there's too much parity in college basketball now.
And I think we've had this discussion before about college football where the big teams are only getting better with the way it's built. Yeah. It's a complete opposite in college basketball. And I love it because whether you're in the Big 12, the WAC, the Mountain West,
WCC,
you can put together a team that runs to the Final Four.
Hey, I'm just going to wrap up with this. Mr. Brown, can you name at least one other school in the WCC?
No.
Oh, there you go. I know you're going without St. Mary's. You can't say St. Mary's. Who are you going to say?
I was going to say BYU.
BYU is not. Are they? I thought they were independent. Are they? I don't know.
No.
In football, they are.
I thought they were only independent in football.
So
I could be wrong there.
Either way, we don't know anything about the WCC. So
St. Mary's was my go-to.
I hate to interrupt, guys, but did y'all not see what just happened? They're banging trash cans again in Houston. They're playing Altuve's first home run of the year.
Altuve hits a home run off of a inconsequential trash can.
That's right.
That's how it works. I did love the fact the Angels are throwing trash cans on the field.
That was great.
That was fantastic. Yeah. Well, actually, let's just go ahead and jump into baseball. It all kind of goes full circle. So let's start. The season started. I know I have way too much optimism as a Reds fan. I know it's early. It's not going to happen. Biggie, you reminded me how your Mariners started
13-2.
And it fell apart.
Yeah. Can I at least elaborate the fact that I got to see your Reds up close in person?
That's what I want to talk about. I was supposed to go to opening day last year. You didn't get to go. You didn't go to opening day, but you went to game 2.
Yeah, it was Saturday.
Game 3. And that wasn't just any game. There was a lot of excitement in that game.
No, that game had everything. So I'm a Braves fan. I go with a coworker that's a huge Reds fan. They're playing the Cards, hated rivals. Never been to the Reds Hall of Fame. If you haven't been there, check it out. $12 to get in, 3 or 4 floors. Great. We had friends of the show, Tom Browning, Brett Boone. I'm taking pictures of their stuff. I'm sending it to them on Messenger, and they're like, "Oh, that's sweet." Brett Boone's like, "I wonder where I left that Golden Glove." Yes. So it's just cool. But in the game, 5 home runs. Saw Arenado's first home run with the Cardinals.
Yep.
And then, of course, everyone knows by now the Castellanos standing over top of the guy saying,
flexing on him.
Let's effing go. And then benches cleared twice. It was a good time.
And we're saying that there should have been no suspensions from that.
Correct. I mean, he didn't even push anybody, so Castellanos shouldn't even be suspended.
He came back with a really nice piece for the man cave from there too.
Yeah, we got a big red machine, little metal
16 by 12. I was glad I found it because I didn't want to just narrow it down to one big red machine member, and I didn't know who if I want to do Rose or Bench or whoever. But it has all of them, even Sparky.
Not being a fan of either team, what was there, 5 home runs hit, bench clearing, you can't really ask for much more.
Yeah, if you're going to make a trip to a ball game, you don't want if it's a no-hitter, that's fine. I enjoy that too.
65 and sunny, slight breeze.
But you don't want like a 2-1, 4-hit, 3-hit game. You want something that's kind of exciting.
I mean, but anyways, about your Reds, man. I mean, you should be optimistic. It's early, but the fact is you didn't score any runs in the playoffs last year.
We're making up for it now when it doesn't count.
And you took that personally.
We did. I saw that meme. Thank you, Jordan. But either way, I'm excited baseball's here. We got our fantasy league like in full kilt, and it's great. We're enjoying all that stuff. But any big takeaways in the early season so far? I mean, we know Tatis is hurt. We don't know how long that's going to be, but it just seems like everybody's still kind of finding their rhythm here so far. Nothing crazy. I know you're a little miffed about Soroka's still out. But,
I mean, they shut him down for 2 weeks. But, I mean, the Braves started 0-4. We are 2-4 now. But obviously right now the pitchers are still getting their feet beneath them or whatever, because they're only going about 5-6 innings. So, I mean, they got to build their way up still a little bit more. Usually the first start, it's not like legit. So.
We're watching the Astros and A's. Are the A's still winless?
Won one game.
They won one game. And Jose Altuve apparently is the 3rd best Astro ever when it comes to home batting average.
Well, we wonder why.
Yeah, I can't imagine why.
Richard Hidalgo didn't have trash cans.
Quality player there.
That's right.
All right, so other baseball news. Now, we do our best to steer clear of the world of politics, but when politics comes to our door and they have to get in the world of sports, it's a little irritating. Now, that being said, when an athlete wants to make a commentary piece on something that happens, like that's fine. That's their right to do that. Like I'm not going to judge you for having an opinion. But when you're impacting what's happening on the field, that's a different thing. So Atlanta has just lost the All-Star game. And Mr. Brown, for our audience out there, you had every intention on going to the All-Star game in Atlanta. And because of some very misguided voices, I think, and I'm not trying to make it political about whether you agree or disagree, but the hypocrisy here is incredible, because if you disagree with what happened in Georgia, you might as well just pull baseball out of about 35 other states. So what type of toll is this taking for Braves fans, and how is the city of Atlanta dealing with this?
It's terrible, and I made a post on social media about it. It was strictly about being a fan and aggravated about baseball's decision. I wasn't trying to make it political because, like you said, I've been eyeing this All-Star game for 3 or 4 years. As soon as I heard it was going to be in Atlanta, I'd never been to All-Star game. I wanted to go watch that. I wanted to take the family to Home Run Derby and take in the whole event. And a couple things. So after coming off a COVID season with no fans, and by the All-Star game, Atlanta had every intention of being full capacity for this All-Star game. I've heard rumors, I think you were spitting it out, about $150 million in revenue lost. You know how any team would love to have that revenue after the money that was lost last year? Just last year alone?
Yeah.
And then
just the locality.
Right.
Like the local bars and restaurants and vendors.
All the local businesses. I mean, it's crushed them. Like, Atlanta needed this.
They look at it kind of like NBA All-Star Weekend, where you plan years ahead, or Super Bowl week is different because it's a whole week. But those local businesses plan on this for a time out to make money.
Now, did you see the Braves did put out an official statement about this?
I've seen the statement. I didn't read the whole thing.
they were against it. Like the team, organizationally speaking, they were like, this is bullcrap. This is something we have no control over. And now and that's where a lot of those numbers I was citing came from, is what they were citing is the lost revenue.
Why are you punishing the Braves, the city, the local business owners over politics that are done by Georgia politicians? Whether you agree or don't agree, don't punish the organization.
And here's the thing. Do you really think that lawmakers are going to turn around and say that now that they pulled the All-Star game? No, everybody doubles down at this point because they don't want to play identity politics. And that's what this has turned into. And it's horseshit.
The other thing about it, just from pure baseball perspective, me and you had this conversation. We all had it earlier. Would this not have been the perfect season to have it in Atlanta?
Yeah.
Who's one of the greatest ambassadors in the history of the game?
We just lost Hank Aaron this year.
He is the greatest minority player to ever play the game. Mm-hmm. And you're telling me that's not the perfect scenario to bring people together of all walks of life? I mean, let's just screw this up, royally, MLB. I mean, you had a chance to do something special here, and Manfred's trying to say, Goodell, I'm going to be better than you.
Yeah, they bowed down to pressure of signature of 45 baseball players, 45. That just makes no sense to me whatsoever. And the thing is, it doesn't change an outcome anywhere. It really doesn't. And I think
here's the thing. Like you just said, it doesn't change an outcome. Moving this game changes nothing that happened in Georgia from this year to next year to the next presidential election.
Right.
It makes no effect on it. And you took it from Atlanta, Georgia. Where did you put it? What are the demographics? It's such a bad move. It's just mind-boggling.
What are the demographics?
White people. They went and gave it to Denver, where it's 71% of a white population, where Atlanta's majority African-American. And, again, the hypocrisy here is insane. Like, who are you trying to hurt here? Because I don't think you're doing a good job. But I'm just going to say this, and I'm done talking about it. When you start going to sporting, organizations or even corporations in general, and you're trying to get them to be involved in politics, you're asking for trouble, because Major League Baseball, their goal is to make money, nothing else. Coca-Cola, Delta Airlines, or whoever it is down there, all they care about is making money, and they're going to do whatever they can to make money. If you think they're on your side for whatever you think this case is, you're full of crap, because they're going to do whatever they think is going to be best for business and nothing else.
You want to know, I think the best thing is to come from this as a fan of keeping the game in Atlanta to start with. Major League Baseball is the only one of the 4 major pro sports in America that has antitrust protection from the federal government.
They may not anymore.
They're going to lose that, and they should.
Yeah. I mean, you reap what you sow. Yep. And you know what? I know there's people out there that are really supportive of this, and and I just ask you, if you're that supportive of it, you need to show up on these other states' doorsteps and make some calls there too, because Georgia is not the dark cloud hanging over the country right now. It really isn't. And I'm not, again, trying to make this a political speech here or anything, but the hypocrisy is just insane for me. And I think, what'd you say, Mr. Brown? Let's just put it in Cuba. Why don't we just do that? Everybody will be happy. I mean, it's just maddening, because we just want to watch sports and enjoy it and let it be our escape. Whether that game took place in Atlanta or not, or if it's in Denver, they didn't cancel the game. They're still having it, just somewhere else.
Well, that's the thing, too. Put it in Milwaukee. Like we were talking earlier about Hank and one of the great ambassadors of the game. If you could have done something to where the All-Star game was still focused around who he was as a person and a player, you still win. You lose, but you don't lose badly.
How and why did they end up with Denver? I haven't seen that.
Because the long-standing history and tradition of the Rockies.
I mean, they are the elite of franchises.
I mean, who don't want to see Dante Bichette, Andres Galarraga, and Ellis Burks coming out the tunnel to wave at the crowd?
Ellis Burks on us.
I mean, come on. I mean, obviously they know what they're doing.
So they moved it to Colorado, so everyone in the home run hitting contest can be Josh Hamilton from the Yankees stadium.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
They just want to
Everyone's
get that home run derby.
runs
Yeah, because weed's not on the drug test anymore.
Yep.
So everybody can just be high as hell hitting home. Well, they're going to be bombed either way. I don't know if they're going to hit any.
Man. Now, can we just keep doing protests? Can the Braves protest their all-star appearances? Can Freddie Freeman and Acuna and those guys just not show up? Will that happen?
Yeah, I doubt it.
No, it's not happening. I hate 2021. I hate the world we're in. I hate that this is what we have to talk about.
Get woke and go broke.
That's it, I guess. That's so disheartening. So the other thing in Georgia, not to tie this directly together, but are they pulling the Masters out this weekend?
Hell no. We know better than that.
But why? Why would you leave the Masters there? Where's the pressure and the calls to pull the Masters from Augusta?
The pressure and the calls have been there for many years on different subjects. I can remember in the early 2000s, my sister lived in Augusta and they wanted to protest against a couple different things. The city allowed them to protest. They put them on the city lines about, mile and a half. And then 10 miles from there from Augusta. Like Augusta, the Masters, it's the biggest tournament in golf.
It is.
Every single year. And it's not like the U.S. Open, the British Open, where they move different courses.
It's always the same course.
Augusta is the Masters. It will never change. It will never move. I don't care what pressure you put on it.
Yeah. So it's there. It started today. We had a couple highlights, right? So what happened?
The whole ace on the 16th by old Tommy Fleetwood.
Tommy Fleetwood Mac.
Yep. Question for you. Did you see any of it? Catch any highlights?
Very few highlights.
DeChambeau drive the first hole. They had a line whether or not he could drive it. It was like 414 yards.
So that being said, DeChambeau is not even going to finish in the top 5 or the top 10.
He took so it was weird. Last year, the Masters are in November because it is that tournament, like we just said, that has to be played. And he tried to beat the course with his power. Had some ups and downs. They're coming into the.
There's a key element here that nobody talks about, and what it is. All golf courses, when you go play the U.S. Open, the British Open, whatever, you can get reads on the greens. Like they'll give you books, they'll give you diagrams, they'll tell you the flow of the lay of it and all that stuff. They don't do that at Augusta. You're not allowed to get that. That is considered illegal there. So when you can't putt and all you can do is do Happy Gilmore, guess what? It ain't going to work. And that's what happens. That's why you see guys that have played the course a lot. They typically perform pretty well because they kind of get used to it and they figure it out. But he is not able to do so. And I'm telling you, his short game's going to kill him just like it did last time.
It will. When it comes down to the Masters, 3 guys I really like. Spieth, Koepka coming off the knee surgery. We'll see how he does. Patrick Reed plays that course really well.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy how quickly we don't even say Rory's name anymore?
I know. Is there who's the betting favorite? Do you know? Is it Koepka?
It was coming off knee surgery. Koepka or Spieth, maybe.
Maybe Spieth.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you're betting on golf, you're having a good time.
Justin Rose is 7 under through the first round. He was 9 under in his last 11 holes.
I will say that I was listening to the Dan Patrick show this week, and they were really high on Justin Rose in this tournament. So they called that one. I'll give them props there.
DP and those guys are probably the best at who is the best golfer, who's going to win. Of all the shows I listen to,
they're probably it. They're definitely better than we are.
Yeah, no, they're good. They're tight. My biggest thought or whatever. So. Have we moved past with Tiger not being in it this year? Phil Mickelson past his prime. Are we to the point now where we don't even talk about Rory? It's Justin Spieth. If we move to the next era,
I think so. It happens quick. It is what it is, and it's going to be like that until the next group comes along. But it's crazy how much the game has changed with how these guys approach it. But yeah, I think you're on the next generation. The one thing I know we got to get to our interview here. I wanted to ask you: did you see what happened with the Tiger Woods thing with the crash report? They released the findings.
Speeding.
Yeah, did you see how fast he was going?
No,
he was going like 80 in
What's the speed limit?
40.
Oh, okay.
Not impaired or anything like that. He was just driving like a bat out of hell.
Huh. The last I had heard was they had the findings, but they couldn't release it without his consent. And then I never wanted to know what it was.
They had to wait like 2 weeks or some stupid thing.
I didn't want to know how fast he was going until I was told I couldn't know how fast he was going.
He's like, all right, that means something's amiss here. Tell us the details. So anyway, no drugs or alcohol or anything like that. Just he was driving really stupid. Fair enough. He was in a hurry. And you know what? Hey, maybe it's a good commercial for Buick. It saved his life. If you're going that fast and you roll the car over, it's not a bad thing, I guess. But either way, we wish a speedy recovery to Mr. Woods, and hopefully he does not do that ever again, whether he's golfing or not. My God, you're asking for trouble, man. You can't do that. Anyway, let's get to our interview. You want to hear about the Nutty Buddy, Mr. Brown?
Absolutely.
I mean, comes in all shapes and sizes, I've heard.
Oh, yeah.
All All right, guys, enjoy. This is our interview with former Major League pitcher Mark Littell.
Take one. You got it. Here we go, Ramrod. Yeah, let's go. Ha! Ho! Yeah! All the way! And it works. Yes, sir, folks. The Nutty Buddy. It really works. It's mean, it's tough, and it's right there for you every time.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now is a former Major League Baseball player. We love talking to former Major League Baseball players. This is one of many, but he's got the pitching pedigree. He's been in the bullpen. He's been a closer. We know something about a Nutty Buddy. If you don't know what that is, we'll talk about that too. And he's an author, a penmanship of sorts. And we're going to get into all that stuff. But more than anything, we're just going to talk baseball with the guy who likes to talk baseball. So joining us now is Mark Littell. Mark, how's it going, brother?
Well, it's not too bad. You guys are out there. I know I was talking about ridge running a little bit out there in West Virginia. I'm out here in North Dakota and freezing my ass off. But, I guess they're starting some kind of baseball out here, and who knows.
All right, so I got to stop you right there because our co-host, who's not on the call with us right now, is from North Dakota, from the Bismarck, Mandan area. So where are you at, North Dakota?
I'm out in Dickinson. I'm on the western edge out here where it drops.
He's in Dickinson. Oh, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So what crazy decision made you go to North Dakota?
My wife likes stomping around in the oil fields. Okay. And so it's so cold out here, it can't snow, so, it's pretty bad. We just got 70-mile-an-hour winds for a whole day the other day, and it blew about half the damn dog apart.
Is it still wintertime technically up there? What's the weather like right now?
No, we got 65 degrees day. It's clear sky. They need rain like crazy up here. They got a bunch of farmers, ranchers, oil people, and guys that got testicles. So it's a good joint.
we always call our buddy Biggie, but we always refer to him as Canadian Biggie as kind of an insult as being from North Dakota. Is that insulting if we refer to you as Canadian?
I ain't Canadian. I'm a redneck out of southeast Missouri. I grew up down where barbecue was, right out of Memphis, Tennessee. And then we had catfish even. We knew how to eat it with hush puppies and raw onion. So
we don't need to talk too much about food.
That sounds good.
I'm getting a little hungry right now just talking about it.
Yeah, we go to Lake Erie every year, man, and we fry up the walleye and the perch sandwiches, man. Oh, I love fried fish.
Hell yeah, cannot beat it. Beat it.
Let's jump right into your career here a little bit. So when did you come up to the majors? I know you started pretty young. You were about 20 years old, right?
Yeah, I signed in 71 out of Gideon High School, about 1,000 people in my town, and they found me out there hitting a barn and shit like that. And I went up to Billings, Montana, and that's where George Brett and I met. And George was a surf boy out there on El Segundo, and then I was a redneck with a plow, and we both parked him at the door, and we got along real well because we thought quite a bit alike. And, it didn't matter. We liked playing baseball and killing people. It didn't matter which order. And, all those guys were college boys on that team, and there was only 3 high school guys. And the college boys always gave us shit all the time. And so the only guys who made it were the high school boys, tell you the truth. And but it was we had those USC and University of Special Children shit and all those other guys out of the, that West Coast out there. I don't know.
So let me ask you this. So you're from Missouri, but you started your career with the Royals. Was that your team growing up, or were you a Cardinals fan? You ended up playing for both, right?
I didn't even know who the damn Royals were. I said, shit, who are the Royals? They drafted me, but I grew up with the Cardinals because I grew up South, and I'm the only guy born in the state of Missouri that has played for both teams and not outside the state. I don't know if that means anything, but anyway. And then I played for the Cardinals, and I was playing on winning teams with the Royals and the Cardinals. I got an 82 World Series ring. I didn't play in the series. My arm was just like broke. So Kansas City was 2 playoffs over there though. the first two. I did come up when I was 20. I was youngest player at the time. And I talk about that in the book. I mean, I wasn't even supposed to be there. They didn't even know who I was because I just came right out of the woodwork. And so they thought I was the golden boy, and then they found out they were wrong. So shit. So,
hey, baseball is about failing 70% of the time, so that's not a big deal.
Yeah, well, I did that. I did that.
Well, let me ask.
You're being modest. We looked at your numbers, man. For 9 years, you did well. Your arm just didn't agree with you, and that happens.
Yeah,
you know?
so you ended up having some elbow issues, right?
Yeah. And then, you can kind of tell when, you have arm problems on my charts anyway. But, I had a couple, 3 good years right there. And here's something that's funny. In my first book, I have a chapter. The last chapter is called Forrest Gump Statistics. But I did not know this until like 6 years ago. I have a Cardinal record for strikeouts by reliever, but the most strikeouts by any reliever in any one single season. And I said, you got to be shitting me. And
it's still today?
It's going to hold on, because of the way they're pitching nowadays.
Right.
We're breeding a bunch of wusses now.
How many strikeouts is it?
I think it was 120, but they knocked off 10 because I started the first 2 games. I mean, so they couldn't count, So, they got rid of the manager after that. So that was fine by me.
Was you with Whitey at all, or did you miss him?
Yeah, no, I was with him in Kansas City and St. Louis.
Okay.
We used to hunt and fish and do all kinds of shit, and, he was a no BS type of guy. And, he's great. He's a great on the field. He's 3 to 4 innings up on the other manager, and he'll tell you so. We've been on the West Coast, and he never had a meeting, but I remember one on the West Coast. He walked in there and he said, if he talked over 2 minutes, something was wrong. And he said, hey guys, I hope you guys have a hell of a series here, but I want to let you know I'm already 3 innings up on this guy. And if we don't kick his ass, something's really wrong. So anyway, so that was about the way Whitey went.
So you did a little bit of starting and playing out of the pen. What was your preference? It looked like you might have been more of a bullpen guy over the course of the career, but did you have a preference?
Well, my third pitch, I don't think it really developed, and I was a closer, so where I had a lot of success. And to be a closer, you got to have about a 3 to 5 IQ. And, you go out there and you go, I throw hard, sit down, I win, I drink beer. We play tomorrow. I might get in there and beat you again. Stuff like that.
Short memory for sure.
I didn't give a shit. So just go out there and get outs. People, because that ball game's going to be over in about 3.5 minutes. If you're out there 5 minutes, somebody should be scoring on you. So, short, sweet, get the hell off the mound. You spend too much time on the mound, you can forget it.
So let me ask this, just going back over your career. So you played for a number of years. We got something we got to ask you about in a second, and I'm going to apologize in advance. So I'm going to hold that.
Chambliss? All that bullshit? Chambliss?
Whoever these jackasses are that edit Wikipedia, they make sure that's like in the first paragraph or something.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure.
Now, is that the same season that you got the record for the strikeouts?
No. Although I got pitcher of the year that year, I only gave up one home run the whole year, and then I gave up that one to Chambliss.
Yeah, that's what we were looking at earlier. So when you were saying that you had the record, I was thinking it might have kind of ran parallel that season, but not
that record
so
was with the Cardinals and then the Royals.
Yeah, it was the Royals.
At the time, I was 23 years old and still young, young and dumb. So kind of interesting.
Is the dog trying to break it? What's happening there?
Dog's not trying to break into the house. No, my wife's hammering. She's getting ready to hammer me. Anyway, I just threw a fork at her.
I saw a projectile. I wasn't sure what it was, but that's what you got to do. What you got to do. This is a professional interview that we got to make sure we get done right.
Oh hell yeah! Okay.
So I don't want to talk about the low light. We're not going to go there anymore. We're not going to talk in detail about how you might have had a bad game in the ALCS or anything like that. That's not important. I want to hear about.
Let me tell you one about the National League. my bad time over there was with Pete Rose got the National League breaking hit off me. And Stan Musial held it, Cardinal. We're playing in Philadelphia, and Stan's there just in case he does. Well, I throw a fastball in the inside corner. He breaks his bat, gets a hit. They hold the game up for 10 minutes. Gene Tennis, who has 3 World Series rings already, comes out, lifts up his mask and says, "Way to go, big boy. You're in the fucking record books again." So, here you go.
We didn't realize we were talking to so much history tonight. That this is a pleasant surprise.
Well, I got you one more here. I'm the only guy in Major League Baseball that has 2 hits and 3 RBIs. I have more RBIs than I do hits. How about that?
Hey, we always respect those National League pitchers because you never know when something like that might just be true.
Yeah, but the other thing was Lou Brock. I met him when I was 14. No, I was 11, and 14 years later, I get traded over there, and Lou's going for his 3,000th hit. Well, he gets 2.999 at first at bat leading off. We're playing the Cubs of all things in St. Louis, and he comes up in the 4th inning and gets number 2 off of Dennis Lamp's ankle. And so they stopped the game for 10 minutes again. It's a full stadium, and I end up getting in the game. In the 8th and the 9th, we're tied 2-2, and I pick up the win in the 10th. So that's pretty cool. I thought that was cool too. Yeah, that worked.
You got the win in the game that Lou Brock got 3,000. Gotcha.
Yeah, and and the fact that I had met him when he came over to the Cardinals that year, on an elevator in the old ballpark, which was it was the old ballpark before we went over to Bush 2. Said I don't know, it's kind of interesting. Of course, they've got so much history with the Cardinals. It's like Yankees, Cincinnati, Dodgers, there's Boston. There's a lot of history in those old, Cleveland's got a lot of history. I knocked an old lady out. I mean, an older lady, I meant to say, an older lady out in Cleveland one night and told her in a wedge.
With a fork?
With
the fork?
No, with the ball. It was like a Scud missile moving around up there in the stands. They had 60,000 people there, and I couldn't miss it. Wow. I don't know how in the hell I got it out of the bullpen, but it's some way. And then we were caddy corner across from the dugout, and Whitey called over, and I was warming up in the 6th, and he said, "What the hell's going on down there?" And Doug Bird said, "I think Country just drilled somebody up in the stands." He said, "Man, you got a bunch of people wanting to kill you, somebody over there." He said, "They're throwing all kinds of crap." There's probably 20,000 people wanted to come across that rail. And, but the thing about it was they were 20 feet above, and how I got that thing out of there, I don't know, but it did slip. Whitey said to me, he says, "Well, let me tell you something." He said, "Safest place for you, Country, is right in the middle of the field pitching." And I said, and he said, "When I hit that third baseline, you think you can jump that 40-foot cyclone fence right there?" I said, "Heck yeah." So he said, "Don't go to the gate because they'll pelt you." Because our bullpen was already about 8 inches full of all kinds of shit. And so when he hit that third baseline, I jumped it and ran like crazy. And, the whole side of the stadium was booing me when I come in. And, they finally figured out, they started, yelling down to the left, there's an asshole out on the mound. So anyway, that's how it happened.
Oh gosh.
There's more to it. That's in the first book too. That's on the 8th day God made baseball.
All right. Cheap plug here. Let's just go over the books here. So what's the first book's name?
On the 8th day God made baseball.
Okay. And what's the second book?
Country Boy, Conveniently Wild. And then the third book's called What's Up Ramrod with a question mark. Because I called everybody Ramrod.
I was going to ask, what is the significance of that? I just want to make sure I'm not
because he don't know your damn name.
That works.
I might start using that now.
I think so.
That might have just rubbed off on me.
I say, "Hey, Ramrod, come here."
Everybody turns their head.
I dropped a Ramrod on a general manager one day even.
Well, you call if you're in a crowd of people and you call one guy you don't know the name Ramrod, everybody's probably turning their head to see who the hell you're talking to because they want to know who's this Ramrod guy.
Well, see, Ramrod was Rowdy Yates in Rawhide. He was second in charge. So if I call them Ramrod, they're second in charge. I'm the trail boss. I'm Mr. Favor.
There you go.
So that's how it goes.
I saw one more fun fact. I guess when you went from the Royals to St. Louis, you was traded for the man Hungarian. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Al Herboski, I believe.
Actually, he was traded for me. Okay. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Get it right, Mr. Brown.
There you go. And Buck Martinez or something. I think he was.
Yeah,
in there too.
Buck Martinez was part of that deal too, right?
Yep. Buck. Good catcher. Very good. Yeah. Good announcer too. He's with Toronto, I believe, right now.
Yeah, he's still with Toronto. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's where a lot of people probably know him more familiar is just because he called games for years with ESPN, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So, do you watch any baseball today? Or you still in tune with the game, or you just kind of throwing forks in North Dakota, minding your business?
Well, the writing and Nutty Buddy keeps me a little bit hopping. And, we're breeding so many wusses today. I don't want to watch them play too much, but I guess I have to once in a while. And I don't know, some of these new rules and things, I'm not closed-minded about any of that at all, but I sure did not like the fact that they did the thing over there in Atlanta at all. That was a big no-no to me. And that's amazing. That cost those people and that state a lot of money.
$150 million projected revenue they lost.
It was amazing. Whatever it was, it's too much. I mean, it's just now they're going to go out and smoke dope. You're
right. You're right.
Mile high, right? I mean, it's that's a travesty. So outside of baseball deciding to get political for no apparent reason here lately, is there anything just with today's game? Is there anything specific that you do like about today's game, and what do you hate the most as far as the way the game's played now?
Oh, the hate the most is probably that rule at second where they, but you have pitchers that can't go very far.
Right.
Oh my gosh. I mean, no wonder they have 14 pitchers on a list and they had so many down in the minors ready to come up. And, I guess they need them. But, like the one I was reading about a closer today, I can't remember from where, but they said, well, the problem with he pitched the second day and he rode and he's never done that before. I said, shit. I did 4 one time and a whole bunch of 3s, And, it's just amazing, to what you're putting out there on those lines. And, there's some good ball players. Man, there are some really good ball players. Don't get me wrong one bit. I mean, there's some great athletes out there. But, to pull up lame, and I don't like the fact that they want, they want to have their own say, and get up and grandstand a little bit. They're doing movie star status. They want the word is platform. I meant to say they want a platform,
right.
But they don't need a platform. Go out and get an out. Go out and get hits. 15 years from now, they might remember you. Then you can run for office. But don't try to, don't try to do it now. Just go out and play baseball. I mean, it's pretty simple. About the likes, I'm glad we're into the ballparks, but we just, we barked ourselves. We squirrel barked ourselves right there when they brought that thing out of Atlanta into Denver. And, it's hard to keep getting real positive sometimes,
I think sometimes that's the world in general, not just baseball. I'm with you.
Right. It is. Yeah, it is. It is. It's a tough one.
One of my funny things, and I still laugh about it now, is how did we get this magical number that once a starter gets 100 pitches, it's just, oh my God, he's in past 100 pitches. We got to pull him. And it's like, you got a few guys like Max Scherzer who looks at you with his blue eye and his brown eye. And he's like, don't take me out of this damn game. I'm rolling. But no managers do that anymore.
Well, it's not so much manager, it's analytics, it's trainers, It's doctors, it's a whole slew.
Everything's changed.
Yeah, everything's changed. And, when they're not when they're not geared to throw, at the minor leagues level, you got to watch a pitcher when he breaks down. If he breaks down to 75 pitches, I mean, hey, he goes. If he breaks down to 60 or 100, 112 or whatever, if he's not laboring, you can keep him in there. But I think there's a thing I call it tensile strength. I mean, I've coached for 18 years professionally. I haven't got all the answers, and nobody does. But I mean, my grip is strong from working on a farm. But the kids nowadays, they don't do that. They work Xbox. The strongest part of them is the thumbs.
Yeah,
don't let them come at you with the thumbs; they'll kill you.
Thumb to the eye.
Yeah, I'm out here. So.
Hey, so talk about your coaching experience here a little bit, because it sounds like it's a little atypical. Not that you've just been in like the majors or minors. You've been a little bit everywhere. So where has your coaching career kind of taken you?
Well, I was out for just a little bit, and I came back in, and I started with San Diego, and of course I was in A-ball for quite a bit actually, and then I went to AAA. But I was with Boch 1 year. We won the Cal League. And then you have new regimes come in and new ownership, and I was good. I was fine, but they let me go, and they wanted to fly me out to San Diego to explain it, why they let me go. I said, you don't have to do that. I said, just give me a damn list and speak highly of me, of the farm directors, of the 29 others. So anyway, I hooked up pretty quick with Milwaukee, and that was good. And I had Fred Stanley over there at the time. Fred Stanley's an old name. He's still, I think, with San Francisco. And then I went to the Dodgers and the Royals. And, I got to see 4 different organizations and how they operate. And, I was a coordinator, pitching coordinator. And I was in AAA, AA, A-ball. I did everything except big league. And I'd interviewed for big league jobs. But I'd seen some good stuff, and it was always fun to try to get those kids to, out of your hair and moving forward. That's what you want, is to have that good experience. And, you got to lay the law at times, and then you have some fun. And when I stop cussing, that means I'm mad.
So you got any young kids you had in there that you saw promising that turned out to be somebody?
I had Tim Worrell, that was Todd's brother. And, you're with these guys, some of these guys you'll never know, Luke Prokopek. I mean, there's a lot of pitchers. There's a left-handed pitcher, Craig Breslow, that was with Boston. He's a little left-handed pitcher. He's from Yale. And that's not common. I know. Yeah. And there was 2 Yale guys on this team. And when I went out to the mound with both of them, they had degrees I couldn't pronounce. I couldn't spell for damn, and I'd go like this. I'd put my hands together and I'd go, and then I open it up like a book. And I say, you are in trouble. But they start laughing, and, I break the ice and, how the hell are you going to get this guy out? And they thought you were going to tell us that. And I said, I ain't throwing the ball. so anyway.
All right. What about internationally? So I know you spent some time overseas. So what all were you doing there?
No, I was working for the Australian Baseball Federation. And I was coaching resident for 2 years. They liked me, so they brought me back second year. I didn't spoil anybody. And so I didn't turn the country red or anything. But, that was a fun experience. I was in Perth for 2 years, and I was in Brisbane for 2 years, and got to see a lot of the country, most of the country, except maybe the northern part, up there where the crocodiles eat you. And then, very interesting. There's only almost 25 million people there now. There was 20 million there when I was there. And, a lot of people don't understand that. There's But there's 37 million in Canada, yet there's 39 million in California. So,
yeah, in Australia, like they're all on the coast and nowhere else, right? It's just right there on the edges.
And but the fun thing about Australia, I have some really good stories in there. A lot of fun stuff. The Aborigines took me hunting over there, and I'm a redneck, and so it was at nighttime, and so they were barefooted, and I pulled my stuff off, and I was barefooted and naked like them.
Wait, all right. Outside of being barefoot and naked, what's the what are you hunting for, and what are you hunting with?
Well, they let me do all the shooting at night, and I had a Magnum 22, and I shot kangaroo, and so it was for the clan. They call them a clan, and then they had a 243 in there, and there was a big old red brew out there, and they were talking about how far out he was. I said, well, give me that 243. I said, oh, you ain't gonna make that shot. And so I leveled it up, and then we were spotlighting, see, because when you're with an Aborigine and I'm a white boy, you can do anything you want, I mean, if I'm hunting with Australian white boys, I got to go through all these loops. But since I'm with an Aborigine, they really took care of me, and I had a blast with these guys. I'm telling you, I had a blast. They did it the second year too with me. But I dropped that rifle over the hood of that Suzuki. Billy Coffin, he said, Mark, don't shoot until when he said stop, the thing started hopping, it was big hops. And my rifle was moving up and down. And so I pulled the trigger and nailed him right in midair. And there's a great big old puff out there. And they looked at each other and they said, Crocodile Mark. And they said, you always shoot like that? And I said, sure. For about a minute and a half, I had to string them. So anyway,
now we know where they got the idea for Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah, they got really now we know. Here. We're talking to the original.
Well, I was 2 years behind him.
We won't date it. Nobody has to know that part. I'll edit that out.
No, that's enough.
Yeah, but every year I was over there, either one or two people, at least one or two, got whacked by a croc.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no thanks.
That was nasty.
I got to tell you, for whatever reason, Australia is like one of the places I'd never want to go to because for some reason the animals there scare me to death, and I'm not normally like that, but like everything they got over there will kill you. Like everything's poison.
They got the worst snakes in the world, and they got a damn bird called a cassowary that'll kick you to death.
Yeah, I don't want to. Wow. No thanks. Yeah. That's like the stuff of nightmares.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I write about in there because I fed this cassowary over at Steve Irwin's place, Australia Zoo. I was there before he got big. I was there before he got big, and I used to go there it was 60 miles drive to the north, which would be toward the equator, so it cuts you down under. And I'd go out there, and he'd be doing something. Hey, Yank, how you doing? He one time he came up to me, and he had a big old long snake in his hand. I knew what it was. He said, Yank, you know what this is? And I said, yeah, I know what that is. He said, what is that? And I said, that's the world's most deadly snake.
That's that tiger snake, right?
Well, I don't know. Some small scale snake. And he says, you know where it comes from? I said, yeah, it comes right from here, Queensland. He said, that's right. He said, you know what else? He said, this thing bites you. He says, you ain't got time to call a cab. And I said, well, so you start shaking and stuff. But I saw him feed Argo on film for the first time, I think, because there were never cars out there. It was maybe 5 or 6. This place was flooded. I thought someone got eaten up by a crocodile because there's these television vans out there. When I walked through, they said, Steve's going to be feeding Argo over at Billabong number 3. Well, I always wondered what a Billabong was because you had those shirts that said Billabong on them.
Yeah, I still have no idea what it is. So I'm now, on the edge of my seat here.
Here it is. A Billabong is a small pond. That's all it is. And I said, well, what's in a small pond? I said, can you go swimming in a Billabong? They said, no, mate, you don't want to go swimming in a Billabong because you get eat up by a croc. I said, oh, okay. So there you go.
Well, thank you for reinforcing my travel restrictions in Australia.
Yeah.
And real quick, you spent some time a little south of Florida too, right?
Cuba, yeah, I was there 3 different times, and that was a real interesting experience because.
So what were you there for? Why Cuba?
Baseball. I was talking to the Australian. It's wrong. No, this was a different baseball federation. there's about 60 countries that are involved in baseball, like in a federation form. And so that's why it was there. And so they had everybody in headphones, like, you're in the UN or something. And so I get up to speak, and, it's kind of interesting. It's interesting. You get up to speak, and everybody's getting translated, back and forth. And so you're asking a question, and they ask it to me and send it back to me in English. And so it was pretty cool. It's real communism. People ask me, they said, well, what's Walmart like over there? They ain't got a Walmart over there. I said, you kidding me? I said, they're slaughtering a pig on the sidewalk and you're buying parts off of it. I mean, they have their ration cards, for beans and rice and a protein every week. And if you don't show up, you don't eat. It's pretty simple. It's not like going down to Dairy Queen, shit.
No, they don't have those, right?
No. They don't. So, but quite an experience.
All right. Well, man, I'm sure we could talk all night. We got one more thing we definitely want to ask you about, and that's where we kind of first came across you. Was we found this video. I don't know if you'd call it a viral video or whatever, but
it went viral.
It was definitely a advertisement of sorts. The Nutty Buddy, and I got to say, products are one thing, but if you don't have like the ShamWow guy or Billy Mays behind it, it doesn't do any good. And this product had the right guy behind it. So how did you get involved with the Nutty Buddy? Tell everybody what it is and how this all came to be.
Well, I invented the Nutty Buddy, and it's anatomically correct. I've won 5 awards, and I'm an idiot. And the thing about it is that I've been in Washington, D.C., where they do all this testing, and these little damn engineers are sitting there going, clapping after the bullet hits it or whatever. And they come over to me and they say, "Are you an engineer?" And I say, "No, I'm a redneck from Southeast Missouri." And so, how you figure out? I say, "Well, it's pretty simple. Form follows function." But I nailed it. It's anatomically correct, And so, anyway, it's one that's going to stay there, and it's, you don't know that you have it on, that's the good part. So if it's not comfortable, you can forget about, kids wearing it. I got 5 sizes. I got hammer, boss, hog, trophy, and bongo.
Oh, wow.
So that's how they sell.
Oh, that is fantastic. That's the best thing I've heard all day.
Oh, wow.
But
I don't know what size I would be. I'm scared to say.
Well, every little guy walks in there up to the chick at the counter and he says, "I'm a hog." And then every 8th grader wants to be a mongo. So, kind of just the way it is, folks.
Nah, that's all good.
But, that was number 1 on YouTube about 12 years ago when it first came out, and that video came out where I take a shot in the nads at 90 miles an hour. And I took a whole bunch of them. I was on Lopez, Fox Sports Science, Fox and Friends morning show. That was the biggest show going. And I'm 4.5 feet away, and I do laser it in so it won't go sideways and hit me somewhere. I've had it hit me in glance, and I'm black and blue, for 2-3 weeks.
I bet.
Yeah. And
that came at you at 90 miles an hour in that video?
It's actually a little bit more than 90, some of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that's crazy.
Even if I believed in the product, I'd be scared it'd be off just an inch or so.
Well, I was just sitting there trying to I had Miss USA. She shot me in the nuts with doggone those paint guns.
Oh, paintball gun.
Yeah, and she pissed me off.
She hit you right in the leg.
Hell yeah, she hit me in the leg, and I said, "Sweetheart," I said, "you got to hit me in the nads, the nuts." So she finally got it right on the next shot. That was on Tom Green show. That's what it was, Tom.
Oh, gotcha. I remember that.
Yeah, and she come on there, and she was from Missouri, and I said, "Well, since you're from Missouri, to make this count," I said, "Do you need any hooch right there to make you shoot better?" And she said, "No, I'm fine." No, she wasn't fine. She needed some good hooch. Whatever.
You learned that lesson too late, though.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
It's a fun product. my books are fun. They got all 5s except for one little grandma that said I cuss too much. So
now you're going to have it. You can't always make every grandma happy.
No.
Yeah. Right.
So the book's available, I'm pretty sure, probably anywhere online, or is it in stores? Can you get it like Borders, Barnes and Noble, places like that?
You can go to Amazon, you can go to, if you can spell Littell, marklittell.com, you can pick it up. My third book's not up on there yet, but the first 2 are. And in the third book's 86,000 words. It's a bigger book. It's also 9 inches by 6 inches. So it's a pretty good sized book. And I'm just
what size Nutty Buddy would that be?
That would be a Mongo.
That's a Mongo. Okay, got you.
That would be Mongo. But no, it's just not for baseball. That's we had the U.S. Fencing team used it, so they didn't want to get their nuts skewered. So
the fencing team. Wow. All right. So where and is Nutty Buddy still available? Where do you buy it at?
You can buy it on
Dick's, of course.
You get a Dick's.
No, yeah. Well, we had it at Dick's, but Dick's don't know how to market shit. So anyway, this is a high end product anyway. If you want grandkids, you got to have a Nutty Buddy. You don't walk around with some of this other crap that's V shaped and you're squeaking like you can't do it.
No, we don't want that.
Kids can't wear them.
Man, hey, I'll tell you what. One time I was in Las Vegas and there was a guy on the street that was taking $20 bills to let you kick him in the nuts, and he could have used the Nutty Buddy. If only I knew now what I knew then.
You'd have made a killer.
Oh, really?
Man,
that's true. It's granddads even buy them for their little damn grandsons, and then they get pissed off because they break their toe, and then the mama comes in there.
Oh wow!
So lacrosse, it's big in hockey. They're starting to use it in hockey now. They finally figured out that puck it stops that puck even. So it's made out of 124 Lexan. See, it's not the damn what it's made out of, even though it's real good stuff. It's the design anyway. Because
you said ergonomically correct, right?
It's covers them both, and it's really sweet. Just bingo.
That's good. You don't want to leave one little guy out. That'd be bad. Man, you know what? We're up against time constraints, and I feel like we could talk all night. And you know what? I think it's just going to have to be maybe another time down the road. We're going to have to hook back up, man, because this has been a pleasure just shooting the shit and having a good converation, man.
Yeah, that's good. I like Ridge Runners.
I appreciate that, Ramrod. But
they called me Ramrod. Yeah.
Mark, man, you've been a pleasure, brother. We're so glad to have you on the show, man. And man, we'll find you somewhere down the road, man. We'll bring you back. All right.
We'll catch up. Y'all have fun.
Hey, you do the same, man. If you're ever out here ridge running, find us. We'll take you out somewhere fun, man.
Yeah, you betcha. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right, Mark. Thanks again, man. All right, guys, we appreciate you joining us this week. Don't forget, we're out every week on a Thursday or Friday for you to hear new episodes. And next week, we got another baseball guest. We're going to get into the world of scouting, and he's got a little bit of experience under his belt playing baseball as well. So anyway, as always, make sure you subscribe. Find us wherever you listen to your podcast, and get us where we're going to let you know when that new episode drops. And as Yogi Berra said, nobody goes down there anymore. It's way too crowded. I don't know if that means anything or not, but I just felt like giving you a Yogi Berra quote to close out the show. This has been the We Don't Know Sports Podcast. We'll see you next week. Have a good weekend.